Everyone loves a good puzzle. They're great for killing time and keeping the old deductive reasoning skills nice and sharp. You have plenty of awesome puzzle apps to choose from on Android, and detective games make up some of the very best on the platform. Their talent for testing players' observation and reasoning skills blends with almost any context, and their slower gameplay thrives on a touch interface, ideal for the best Android phones. This roundup of great detective games showcases our favorites, and there's some real creativity on display here. It is unlikely that you haven't heard of the Layton series, but if you are new, here's a rundown. Professor Layton is a puzzle adventure series following the titular Professor Layton, a former archaeologist and private investigator traveling with his apprentice Luke. Their adventures span several titles, and Layton: Curious Village in HD is a remaster of the first game. You arrive in a town to uncover the truth about a mysterious murder and a hidden treasure, a problem to which puzzle solving is the only solution. The remaster provides the charming visual style and soundtrack of the original, along with the compelling and fun characters, and even some unique cutscenes made specifically for it. Everything that made the original game an excellent pickup has translated well to the mobile platform. Longtime fans will certainly get a nostalgia trip as well as a challenge. You better not sleep on this one, it's well worth a try. Duskwood Detective Story is an interactive crime narrative about locating a missing girl. The initial presentation is reminiscent of The Healing, a game that uses similar immersive gameplay of impersonating a real group chat app, a la Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. Characters are added to the chat in a scripted fashion, and you are given choices as to what your contribution to the conversation will be, the story adapting to your answers. While unsettling, thanks to its effective immersion, games like Duskwood Detective Story are unquestionably unique, creepy, and more than worth a try. The escape game The Psycho Room starts far less intense than its title would suggest, placing you in front of a locked door, armed with nothing but the simple task of finding out how to open it. To accomplish this, you must search the room for inventory items, code combinations, and code breakers, all while figuring out how a conveniently placed small robot works. While it is pretty bare bones in terms of presentation and function, escape game The Psycho Room does everything required by the detective formula. You are provided a room to escape by deducing how this can be done. Nice and straightforward, and most importantly, fun. I Am Innocent kicks off with a far more intense chat simulator exchange with no explanation or context. Marked unique qualities include a Telltale's The Walking Dead style prompt to indicate whether a relationship is improving or not, as well as multiple one-on-one conversations, as opposed to group chats. This does mean that there's a lot more exposition in very long strings, so make sure you enjoy reading because this game assumes you do. Yes, your dialogue choices affect the way characters interact with you and with each other, giving a ton of replay value to see how things can and will turn out differently. This game style shows great promise from the amount of tension it can effortlessly build. Recommended. Ace Attorney Trilogy is a compilation release of the first 3 games in the iconic series. You take control of Phoenix Wright, a rookie lawyer tasked with defending his clients in court while compiling evidence in pursuit of the truth. To say this series is unique would be an understatement, combining criminal trials, a usually dry and boring affair, with dramatic anime-style flair with engaging gameplay to keep you on your toes. Said gameplay boils down to answering questions correctly and reacting to developments in the trial quickly and wisely. The tutorial is very amusing, showing off these gameplay mechanics through questions asked of Phoenix in court, while incredibly nervous and constantly panicking. Going in as a fan of the best anime games will help, and if you embrace the silliness on display, this world and its characters and fun gameplay will suck you in. Nothing objectionable here. White Knight is a puzzle adventure game with themes of isolation and creeping paranoia, in which you explore a pitch-black abandoned house with nothing but a lighter. This game evokes the classic noir detective feel, combined with a striking black and white art style and constant narration, creating a tense, unnerving atmosphere straight away. Getting into gameplay, the slightly janky movement controls and fixed camera angles reminded me starkly of the early Resident Evils, as does searching environments for inventory items that enable progress, all with a creeping paranoia that you aren't alone. Classic survival horror stuff that takes advantage of the fear of darkness to really give you the creeps. Detective Max. Mystery Games places you into a deserted high school with the task of uncovering a murder. The initial loneliness of the environment is quite unnerving, a usually communal area completely empty except for you. This game is admittedly slow to start, but once things get going, you'll find that it does not hold back on deduction mechanics. The puzzles are complex and require a great deal of thought to solve. Randomly tapping on things won't get you through this one. That fact does make Detective Max mystery games enjoyment factor a bit subjective, but if you want a detective game that doesn't hold your hand, this is for you. Jekyll and Hyde is a visual novel-style detective game, adapting the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's story into a mobile game format. The player is led through a pretty and dramatic retelling of the book, interspersed with puzzles that require genuine deductive skill to progress. Explore the environments and find clues for combinations, locations, and solutions. Some foreknowledge of the book might be helpful here, as the app assumes you know what's going on in its exposition sequences. If you like your detective games heavily story-driven, Jekyll and Hyde is worth a try, especially if you're a fan of the novella by Robert Louis Stevenson. Who Will Escape is a horror-themed detective game that binds explorative gameplay with dynamic text-based conversation. You wake up in a strange room with no memory and must find your way out. The gameplay functions like an escape room, with the player jumping between predetermined positions to inspect the room's focal points, using the free camera to toggle between interaction prompts. The player also receives scripted text messages from a character in the same situation, providing helpful information and furthering the narrative. Who Will Escape sneaks up on you, starting off slow but growing extremely engaging after a few minutes, manufacturing an atmosphere that genuinely invites discomfort, but in a good way. Nobody's Murder Cleaner is a deductive point-and-click adventure, but from the perspective of someone attempting to clean a crime scene up before the cops arrive. You play as an employee of a secret anti-terrorist organization, tasked with leaving areas as you found them, clean, innocent, and as non-murdery as possible. It's a unique and effective bit of context that adds a great incentive to be as thorough as possible in your cleaning endeavors. However, despite the more sinister details and end goal of the game's puzzles, the basic gameplay is classic point-and-click, albeit tense, with the added spice of not explicitly being the good guy. The puzzles themselves are challenging enough, and veterans will find them tricky but enjoyable. The game looks great and keeps the tension going until the end. This one cleans up nicely. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video was helpful.